Hello, everybody. I'm Jalen, and welcome to episode 19 of my Minecraft Survival World. And today we're starting off here in the town center that I built last episode, which I can't understate how excited I am about this area. I'm just super inspired and really having fun with it. And today we're going to bring it to life in many ways. The main one being releasing these villagers that I've been kind of collecting as we've been going. Got a few in there, got a couple in my house area, and kind of off camera whenever I see a random zombie villager at night, I've been bringing them over to the beach area here and curing them. So I've got a few villagers all cured up and just waiting safely in their boats here. And we're going to get them all released today and let them be free roaming. Oh, gonna have to heal that guy again, but that's all right. But yeah, today we're going to let them all loose and let them walk around the village, and it's really going to make the area a lot cooler. But got to do a little work before that, starting by making sure the perimeter is nice and secure and just making sure there's nowhere that the villagers can accidentally step over a ledge or anything like that. So we just go around the fence here and just make sure there's always a fence blocking them from walking off the edge, and getting rid of things like this where they can just walk over or zombies can walk in. But luckily I was planning ahead and had this fence all pretty well put together. One right here to keep them from walking over. And then we'll put in a little fence on this side. Definitely be temporary, but we just got to block off this back side here. Work all the way down and get it connected to the fence at the house. And at this point, we're feeling pretty good. I put a few fences in so I can come and go as I please, but I had already kind of done this area over here, and the whole beach area was already villager ready, so all these fences and stuff were already safe. So as far as the perimeter going, I'm feeling pretty good. Now we just need to make sure it's lit up inside, which definitely took a few nights of just going around and placing lights and trying to use pumpkins and getting rid of torches best I can. But yeah, lots of just placing lights. And then that night I was sidetracked when I saw a group of 3 zombie villagers right outside the fence, so I decided to try to cure them since I'm working on villagers, and getting them all in their individual boats always ends up being quite the challenge. But it's kind of fun sometimes. Yeah, we got them all locked in. Went out and I'd had a few potions ready. Unfortunately, I only had 2 golden apples. But that ended up not mattering because one of them had despawned, unfortunately. And then I wasn't very smart here. I knew I was going against the clock because they were going to start burning in daylight. I should have covered them up right away before I healed them, but instead I did the opposite. Got him healing. Got this guy covered just in time. Then I heard this guy suffering over here. So I just teased him with a better life for about 5 seconds. That wasn't very nice of me, but hey, we got 1 villager. It's going to be nice having a few cured villagers running around with cheap prices. And then yeah, while I was waiting for nighttime to come around again, secure the area, I kind of spent the day getting some trees planted again that I chopped down last episode, because I do want trees in the area. I just want them to not be blocking my views and stuff. So I found a few spots. Some places I raised it up with dirt a little bit just to make it so that it'll grow with the fence beside. And it makes the trees a little taller, which definitely isn't a bad thing. And I was having pretty good luck getting some nice tall trees, until this guy over here gave me a nice little stubby one, but that's alright. Get a little extra jungle wood. And leaves. But it was annoying when it gave me a stubby one the second time, so got that chopped down again, and then it was nighttime, which I'd been waiting for, so it was back to just lighting up the area. Definitely a lot of work, but well worth it. And you just can't have any spawnable spots, because if one zombie spawns, it could kill your whole village. So it's definitely you got to be real intricate with it. And I realized that back here was a weak spot in my perimeter, so I needed to put a fence across so that they can't get out on that end. It's connected it to this dirt, which will eventually be a tree. But yeah, so they can't get out over that, and it's going to be mob safe, so zombies won't be able to get in. But yeah, I got a tree planted this time, got a tall one, and definitely looking better. Take a little flight. A lot of the reason why I wanted to do the trees was to, I think I said this in an episode before, is to kind of create a backdrop to the beach area here and just separate the back from it a little bit, and I think it definitely does the trick. Well-placed trees, and they're not really blocking my view. And then when you come in here into the middle of town, it looks way cooler having the trees in the backdrop. So I'm real happy with it. Gonna need another one right here. A little editing magic. And yeah, definitely just looking a lot better here. I'm really liking it. And again, just to find a way to kill the time during the day as I wait for night for me to mob-proof the area, I take a flight over to the little bit of a lush cave that I've got over here that I've gotten a little bit of clay from. This time I hang around a second and get a whole bunch. There wasn't enough room in the hopper mine carts for all the clay, so I filled the furnaces myself. Got some clay cooking because I do plan on using a lot of bricks in this area. But yeah, nighttime came around again and spent this night lighting up the roofs. The roofs can always be a dangerous spot. There are spots I've forgotten to lit up before. We got them feeling pretty good, and then I started using some of those bricks that I had just got and making the forges on my blacksmith areas here. I like to have them accessible from both the inside and the outside so that it can kind of be decoration for both. And then yeah, we just extend it all the way up. You can see it's using lots of bricks. Get it nice and tall, and then do the same thing for the other blacksmith. I make them a little different from each other, but pretty similar. But yeah, get nice little chimneys going. Unfortunately, the smoke doesn't render in from very far, so you can't even see it on the other one from here, so that's kind of annoying, but chimneys are always cool. But I think we got them looking pretty good. And then that night, I was out looking around. I had accidentally let my villagers out of my house, so I had 2 villagers running around, and I noticed one was missing, so I was worried. Then I saw this zombie, so we've got a weak spot somewhere. I lit up a few questionable areas, even though I thought they looked like they had a little light going on. I was a little concerned, but we just hoped for the best and spent the next day just detailing the area out a little bit, working on the forge area and giving them places to work and actually using the armor stands and putting up some decorations for them there. And then I also did a little work on the other buildings to make them represent what they were a little better. So for the stone mason, I extended the land out a little bit and gave a nice little area for a few rock piles here just to kind of represent the stone place. And then for the stable, I put in a trough and some hay and got things looking a little bit better. And then for the library, a nice little fountain down here at the bottom, which I think having a nice fountain right there at the center of town just looks really cool. I end up needing to change it here pretty shortly. I'll explain when I get there, but you get the general idea. Looking pretty good. And then that night I started patrolling again, just lighting things up, and I saw another zombie. So I was baffled, wondering where it was coming from here, because I felt like I was doing pretty good. So I started looking around the perimeter, and I had forgotten that when I got those zombies earlier from the outside, I had put this block here. So now I was feeling better because I felt like I had found the solution to the problem. Except I found a creeper on the roof. So that's not good. I hadn't had that roof lit up well enough. And then down here, had a few random mobs just kind of in the middle of nowhere. So I wasn't lit up as well as I thought. But this night, I really got things lit up to the max, I would say. And I was feeling pretty confident. And then that next day, I went around putting lamp posts. Add a little light, even though I had it lit up, but mainly just to look better. Every town center needs to have some lamp posts. It only makes sense. Yeah, definitely a day's work getting them all put in, but simple, but they definitely add to the area. Then I just spent that night replacing torches with pumpkins the best I can, and I will come around and cover all these pumpkins. I end up slacking this episode, but I will get them all covered up and looking better. But yeah, we had to change our fountain because I realized the villagers are dumb and could have accidentally drowned in there, so I had to make a more villager-safe fountain here. But it actually turned out for the better. I think it ends up looking a little cooler. Not quite as much blue, but I think it looks good. And yeah, villagers can't get in there even if they tried, so. Then I went around and gave each building just kind of an identifying block just to kind of make it look more like a shop. And I'll go around with signs and name buildings here eventually. I'm just not to that point yet. And then, yes, started that evening just fleshing out these stone walls kind of back here and giving a little life. And slowly but surely just making the area a little more believable. But yeah, once again, as all these nights, I'm just out patrolling, making sure there's no spots that zombies can get in. And I went around the perimeter a little bit and lit it up as well, just to keep them a little further away. But yeah, take a little flight up here just to see if there's anywhere that stands out from above that isn't lit up. But I'm feeling really good about it. They can't spawn on leaves, so you don't need to light the trees, but we're feeling pretty good about down there. This roof is the one spot I felt like I was possibly missing, but got it lit up, and at this point, I was feeling pretty good. So I've been waiting to do this. This is a pretty big part of the season here. Big goal of mine going into this was getting this village to be free roaming villagers, and here on episode 19, I thought it would have taken longer and not been quite as extravagant of a town as we've got, so I'm feeling really good about where we're at. But yeah, once you get them out, it always takes a bunch of work figuring out their pathing. They aren't very smart, and I'm realizing that these upstairs places that I planned on having houses for them, they don't even path to, so that's unfortunate. So I end up having to kind of do everything on the bottom floor as far as bed and places to work. But we do get a bunch of places to work down for them, and then I went to the nearby village and stole their bell, put it at the tavern so that they'll all meet there in the evening. But yeah, just knocked out a bunch of places, just making it easier for them to path. Sometimes they just kind of want to go their own way, so you gotta compromise for them a little bit. And I'll make that all look better eventually. But yeah, I got a meeting at the town tavern here, and after a few nights of working, we're feeling pretty good. The villagers have multiplied based on how many beds I put down. So once they fill all the beds, they will stop making babies. That's kind of how it works. And yeah, you can see nighttime comes around. It's not even fully dark yet. And they've all already found their ways to the beds, which that's a bit of a challenge. Just making sure there's no corners or anything that they just naturally get stuck in. But yeah, I wasn't happy I had to do some downstairs beds like here in the cartographer and the blacksmith, so I decided I'm gonna start shaping up these houses. I was planning on doing a bunch of houses here. I'm not gonna build the whole things by any means, but I am gonna get the walls up so I can just have them have beds there and not in the downstairs of their workplaces. So this ended up being a little project I wasn't planning on, but I'm really glad I did it. Got a bunch of decent sized houses down here. I'm going a little bigger just to keep with scale of the town itself. I was going to go smaller, but I felt like it was too small, so these villagers are getting pretty decent little houses here. And it's a good way to bring a little color to the town here, going with these terracotta houses. Got a few interesting shapes here, and I think it's looking really good here. Made sure everything was all lit up and safe. I covered the roofs with half slabs so they weren't spawnable, and adjusted the fence here so that this perimeter is set. Just putting fences between all the houses, and now we got a cooler fence. So yeah, took a bunch of the beds out of the beach houses. I didn't want more than 2 people staying in any house down there, essentially. So just transferred a bunch of beds from places I didn't want them over into these houses over here, which I tried to have big enough to have 4 for each house. And the villagers found their way over pretty easily. I was actually pretty impressed. I thought it was going to be a little bit harder work. Yeah, you can see they've already filled the beds up, and putting this all together actually was easier than I thought. So I spent the last day just out doing a few more details, putting some note blocks out to kind of act as crates, and I created a few swinging benches here just to kind of decorate a little bit. Kind of cool for the city. Might be kind of oversized for the benches, but I think they look cool. Then I wanted to add a little bit of greenery down here, so I started adding some azalea bushes down here by the library, and using the azaleas and the moss to give these little trees just kind of give a different shade of green down here, and I think it ends up looking good. And yeah, I'm going to place a whole bunch of leaves on these roofs and all that, but you've seen me do that a few times here, so I'm just going to do a little spinny spin. And there we go, we got it done. That's a tedious job, but it always looks good in the end, and I'm just really happy with how we got our village looking down here. Just slowly but surely coming alive. I didn't get any of the interiors done today. I was planning on doing that, but I just figured this is a good spot to stop. And yeah, you can see we've just got all the beds filled. We've got lots of villagers. And the way I've got their pathing all figured out is a lot easier than when I did this before. So yeah, we've got lots of space to grow, and just everything's just looking really good. I'm real excited to have the villagers running around, and I'm excited to get these houses built up. This is going to be a really cool little street here when we get some roofs on and all that. Just having the color, like I said, the terracotta is just a good idea to bring a little color into the world. And yeah, we'll go ahead and stand up here for a second just so you can kind of see what it's like when all the villagers wake up in the morning. It goes from being a dead town to just everyone slowly but surely making their ways to their jobs. Sometimes it takes a second, but yeah, it's really cool having the free roaming villagers. I think it's one of my favorite goals to have when I'm building a new world, and this is the coolest free roaming village I've ever had by far. Definitely the biggest. We got quite the perimeter figured out for them here, and yeah, you can see they've just all find their way to their jobs. They're not locked in, but if they're usually really close to their workstation. So if I need to find an armor, I can come down here and usually find one. See, there's one, and I'm sure the other one isn't far away. Yep, right there. So yeah, they stay close to their workstation, so they're not too hard to find or anything as far as not being locked in like a lot of places have them. But it's definitely just worth it. And I was noticing that the glowberries kind of get them trapped in there a lot, so I end up having to take them down. But yeah, see, we got a toolsmith over here, just working away. Just a whole lot of life brought to the area. Librarians, got a few nitwits. They might mysteriously disappear between episodes. I don't know what's going to happen to them. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and call it an episode there today. I'm real happy with the progress I made. Not a whole lot of building, but definitely a important episode. So yeah, as always, I appreciate you all for coming, and have a good day.